Hello, everyone. My name is Seth, and today I want to give you my review of Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise is the newest addition to the Evil Dead franchise that was started in the 80s, directed by Sam Raimi. He was also a executive producer on this one. My favorite Evil Dead movie is probably by far Army of Darkness. It combines a little bit of creepy, got some humor. Bruce Campbell's great in it. And so that is by far my favorite of the franchise. Sam Raimi is pretty much synonymous with this franchise as well. Even though he hasn't directed the last two, he's still been a producer on it. But if you missed it earlier in this year, the trailers kind of took Twitter and the internet by storm because they were really solid trailers. They looked like a really creepy horror movie. And I thought it looked like it had a ton of potential, and I was looking forward to seeing it. I finally got around to seeing it, and I gotta say I was kind of disappointed by it. But before I go any farther, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. It actually came out to pretty good reviews. 84% from critics, 76% from audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. And unfortunately, I fall into the minority, apparently. I really didn't like this movie. The story focuses on two sisters and kind of their family and kind of what follows after the Book of the Dead is, found and opened and read from. And that's basically all the story. I basically told you everything about the story right there in that one sentence. Like, that Book of the Dead is found. It's read from kind of because of some audio recordings, and then creepy stuff happens, and then into the movie. So the story is very, very weak. It's barely there. They do have an interesting kind of bookends to this movie, like the way it opens, the way it ends. It's kind of interesting how it ties everything together, but that's probably the most clever thing I can say about this movie, the story or the script, really. There's really not much character development at all. There's just about zero character development. You don't get to really know the characters before any of the creepy stuff starts happening, and kind of makes it hard to care for some of the characters. But overall, I would say the script is pretty poor. Some of the dialogue is outright horrendous. And this movie felt way too long. And that's surprising because this is barely over an hour and a half. But it felt way, way too long. There were too many times where I was just sitting in my room watching it, kind of glancing at my phone, checking the times, when is this going to be over? When are we going to wrap this up? And that's definitely not what you want from a movie, especially one that's only an hour and a half. I think this would have been much better as a 20-minute short film, really. It kind of just seems like in the script writing process or whatever that they just kind of came up with, oh, this is a creepy idea. Oh, and here's another creepy idea. And then they just did that, and they kind of just loosely tied them all together. And it just, that does not work. I don't think that works at all for a film. They really didn't make use of the single setting location. I think that really has some potential. I like it when filmmakers try to challenge themselves by basically setting the whole movie in one location, but they really never made use of it. With the threat that our main characters face, it should have felt maybe more claustrophobic. The threat maybe should feel a little bit more immediate, but it just never really did. And honestly, I think if you've seen the trailers, I think you're good. You don't need to see this movie. They put the best stuff in the trailers. There's nothing in the rest of the movie that even comes close to anything in the trailers in terms of how effective it is, how creepy it is, things like that you're not missing out on anything. They really put the best things in the trailer, which is unfortunate. Some of the scares, some of the just the creepy things, some of the creepy atmosphere, just things like that, it works still in the movie. It's still pretty effective. Just because you've only seen it in the trailer doesn't mean it doesn't creep you out a little bit, but still, you've basically seen the best this movie has to offer if you've seen the trailer. Some of the Evil Dead movies do kind of have a reputation of being a little bit more of a bloody horror movie, and this does follow the trend. So if that's something that will bother you, just be aware of that. If you were interested in this at all, I mean, one thing that just helps me get through it, knowing it's basically like corn syrup and food dye. So that doesn't bother me, but definitely be aware of that if you were somewhat interested. But it does have a pretty neat reference to The Shining, although it did actually kind of take me out of the movie a little bit. A couple of the main acting standouts for me was Alyssa Sutherland, who played the mom character, and Nell Fisher, who played the youngest daughter. Alyssa Sutherland did a really good job both playing kind of like a mom character who's kind of dealing with some stuff, but she's still there for her kids, but also playing, like the Deadite version. Like, that was a tough job, and she did a really good job with that. There's a reason why she's kind of all over the trailer. Like I said, they put the best part of this movie in the trailer, and so there's a reason why she's featured so heavily in that. And Nell Fisher, like I said, she's the little kid. She's the youngest daughter. She did a really good job for a kid. Sometimes with horror movies, kids can be kind of hit or miss. And she did a really, really good job. Like, she was 100% believable. I think she might have a pretty good acting future if this movie was any kind of indication of her acting ability. And Lily Sullivan did a solid job. She didn't really have a ton of character development. That's more problems with the script, but she did a solid job with her performance. It was just a little bit disappointing that she didn't have more to do, didn't have more of an arc, especially since she kind of ended up being like the lead of this film. But yeah, I just really wish there was more like clear and convincing character development. Overall, I did not like this as much as I wanted to. I really can't say that I like it. I can't say that I recommend it. However, film hits everybody differently. I'm in the minority considering the Rotten Tomatoes scores, so maybe check it out. If the trailer's interested you and you still haven't seen it yet, then I would say, yeah, maybe go ahead and watch it. But if you're just asking me, hey, I read about this, should I watch it? I would say probably not. I'd say watch the trailer. That's probably all you need. It was definitely creepy, and it had some decent scares, and occasionally they were able to build tension, but they didn't really build tension well enough and pay it off well enough. The script was very, very poor. Some of the dialogue was absolutely horrendous. I can't believe some of that actually made it from script to screen. It was really bad. And honestly, there's not really even a story here. There's just barely any kind of a story. It also doesn't have really any humor in this whatsoever. And that's kind of really a staple of the Evil Dead franchise. But unfortunately, it did not work for me. I got to give it a 2 out of 5. Who knows? It might work for you. It's worked for more people than it hasn't, judging by Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm in the minority. I did not like this film, and it's a little disappointing. You always want to go into a movie hoping it'll be good, but they can't all be winners, and film is subjective. It hits everybody differently, but that's it. That's my review of Evil Dead Rise. Let me know in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave those in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. we're getting really close to 100 subscribers. That's really exciting. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. That would be so cool as we continue to, kind of build this community here. So go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Follow me on social media, just about anywhere: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, @CinemaSeth. And I'll see you next time.